starts taking people out to the desert, explaining to them, you have to see what we're working on. They fly this thing on certain nights, and they do these test flights around the base. It's nuts. So he takes these people into this area. They see it. They get arrested. When he gets arrested, he gets caught there. He explains what he was doing. He says, okay, I've got to go public or they're going to kill me. So he goes public with George Knapp. Initially, they hide his face, and then he says, you know what, fuck that. Let's just film me. Let me tell you everything. Yeah. He goes over the diagram of this device, and he calls it the sport model, and it looks like that. That thing that we have right there.
Yeah. It's almost like a hubcap, right? But
exactly.
Gotcha.
That's a copy of it.
Okay.
In the middle of that thing is some sort of a generator that he said works on this unknown element, this element 115.
Oh, some of this is coming back to me. I think I've seen some stuff over the years.
Yes.
Yeah, some of it's coming back to me now.
And essentially the way he describes it traveling, and again, this is in the 1980s, the way he describes it traveling is exactly the way you describe that sort of warp drive, changing space and time around it. And that you would point that thing where you wanted to go, and it would just...
Yeah. But when you hear what happened in that Rendlesham Forest thing, it breaks all of my guessing machine, and I it's like,
what is the story?
A colonel and some airmen reported some weird stuff that was going on in Rendlesham Forest. Yeah, and they went out and tried to investigate it, and they saw some. Again, I'm doing such a terrible job of summarizing it because I don't really know the lore very well. But
here it is right here.
Everything they saw was very bizarre and crazy looking.
We can read it.
Right?
It says, 40 years ago, a remote forest in Suffolk was the scene of one of the most famous purported UFO sightings in history. So just what did happen, and will we ever know for sure? Victor Thurnkettle was out chopping wood one morning in Rendlesham Forest in late December 1980 when a car drew up. Out stepped two men, aged about 30, dressed in suits. "Good morning. Do you mind if we ask you some questions?" asked one in a well-spoken English accent. Earlier, on 26 and 28 of December, United States Air Force security personnel stationed at nearby RAF Woodbridge had reported seeing strange lights in the surrounding forest. Forestry worker, Mr. Thurnkettle, unannounced and unidentified visitors asked if he had been out the previous night. I said no, he recalls. They said, "Did you leave the house at all? Did you see anything?" I said, "What?" They said, "Oh, there's a report of some red lights in the forest. We're just checking." And the two men, very politely but firmly, asked me probably about 20 questions. I thought they were journalists. They suddenly said, "Oh, well, fair enough. There's probably nothing in it," and left. So I bought the papers every day for the next few days to find out what was going on, and of course, there was nothing. 3 years later, however, sightings made the news of the world front page story. It proclaimed UFO lands in Suffolk, and that's official. The story was based on a memo from RAF Woodbridge Deputy Base Commander Lieutenant Colonel Charles Halt to the Ministry of Defense. It was released by the U.S. government, described as an encounter with an apparent UFO in the forest. Since then, the sightings have been the source of much debate and speculation among UFO enthusiasts and the subject of numerous books, articles, and TV programs. In March, a documentary concluded the sightings had achieved legend status like the Loch Ness or King Arthur. The forest even has its own official UFO trail, complete with a life-size replica. Go back up. Of the flying saucer, and this is the replica with like the Hamza thing on it, that hand thing. Bizarre. Thurnkettle, UK authorities have said they didn't learn about the incident. Okay, well, what is the story though? They got there, my heart absolutely plummeted. There was nothing. It was an absolute normal glade in the forest with 3 rabbit scrapes. They're all carefully marked. It happened to be roughly a triangle. Okay, what else does it say? What is the sighting? Burn marks on trees, but what's the sighting?
I can show you what the UFO looked like, but
okay. Sure. That's what they said it looked like? Yeah. Whoa. And it had those markings on it?
I Googled it. My Google search said that Grush brought it up when he was on here, but I couldn't find like even clips about it, so I don't know that we went that deep into it.
How bizarre is it that it has that symbol? What is that? That's an ancient Hindu symbol, correct? That Hamza symbol?
I don't know.
These are different symbols.
Oh, they're different. Yeah. That looks very weird.
Yeah.
Huh. So what about this one stands out to you?
I put this one in the category of I don't understand if it's a real account, right? I mean, I think when you have a lieutenant colonel that's reporting something as factual, I tend not to just immediately dismiss it.
Right.
But and it's not just him; it's several people around him. What they described, right, doesn't make sense to me, right?
Mm-hmm.
In terms of the David Fravor talking about the Tic Tac, I can kind of, that's not totally alien to me. I could, it's trying to maneuver with the aircraft and it's maneuvering to their cap or whatever the case may be. And I can kind of connect the dots with that. But the Rendlesham Forest thing, it doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, what about it doesn't make any sense?
What they saw, why it was doing what it was doing.
What was it doing?
It just was out in the woods. It was out in the woods, with blinky lights and doing weird stuff.